I believe in God, and I know Henry believes in God. There's no harm Henry wants to see me come to. And I believe in that.
Yeah, look at the harm you've come to, and where's Henry?
Welcome to the Regular Menthol Podcast, where we discuss Kino movies. My name is Tate. My co-host here is Mr. Chris.
Hello, folks.
We give a little thoughts on the movie, our experience with it. Then we discuss specific scenes that we liked, followed up with our very own Kino rating. Today we're discussing 2014's The Rover, starring Guy Pearce, Robert Pattinson, and our guy, Scoot McNairy. McNairy?
McNairy.
Okay,
Yes, go with it.
How are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm great. I'm a little unhinged tonight. I know that's par for the course, but you ever have one of those days where you just don't remember if you actually slept or not?
No. This seems to be a regular occurrence with you.
It's like you're falling asleep, you're tossing and turning, and all of a sudden you look at the clock, it's 2:30 a.m. Like, oh man, I really got to go to sleep. I'm tired tomorrow. And then I pass out for a little bit, but I feel like it might be less than an hour. And I get up and I'm like, it's still 4:30. It's still 5:30. It's 6:30, and maybe I pass out again somewhere in there and I kind of lose track of time. Did I fall asleep last night? Not sure. I could be seeing demonic entities in the corner of my eye during the podcast. They're there. Just to let you know. Yeah.
Big news.
Oh.
There was almost a happening this past week.
Oh.
Almost a happening this weekend.
You're going to have to fill me in because...
Did you hear that this? Apparently there was a shooting at the White House, whatever it was, dinner. Did you hear about this?
Oh, wow. They're another assassination attempt? Well, what will they do next? What are they going to do to stop this guy? They're really gunning for him, huh?
Nothing ever happens. Did something happen? That's the saying everyone says online.
I heard this was all a conspiracy by Heckler and Koch firearms because they just released the SP7, the civilian version of the MP7, which was prominently displayed by some of the agents. It's all conspiracy to sell civilian
marketing.
Guns. Yeah.
This is good marketing. That's really good marketing. Anyhow, pretty normal week. Aside from that, man, it's just very quiet, going about the daily grind. Just, yourself, you feeling good besides not sleeping?
Yeah. Well, I'm going for a extremely insane walk every day now. This is a real...
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, you're telling me. Tell me about it. Tell the people.
Tonight. Basically, my thought process is I keep seeing these videos that's 10,000 steps a day to lose weight. I don't know if I really need to lose weight, but I'm experimenting to see if I can get ultra ripped.
By walking?
Yeah. By walking. And it gives me a meditative
That's all
state.
It was all along.
And I think I'm really tapping into something crazy because thoughts in my head are popping up that things that I never would have thought of before, something like that happened in the past, but I completely forgot that it was actually in my head. And it's something I never, a core memory unlocked by just walking.
Right.
It's
therapeutic.
How much do you actually think? How much do you actually just sit and think? Right? I never do. I'm staring at screens all day.
Right.
You know what I mean? And my brain is so shocked.
Maybe.
It's like, hey, let me just throw some ancient memories at you real quick. Oh shit. What if everything you have ever done in your whole life, every aspect of everything is actually recorded in your brain and you just need the access to it?
That's wild shit right there. I'm trying to think of stuff that would come up when I was 4 years old.
Stuff you would never remember in your life.
Unlocked.
Unless something triggered the memory, or if you just went for an hour walk.
This is it.
But anyway, I'm just going crazy per usual. You're
nice. Keep it up. Anyway, tell me about this movie, The Rover.
10 years after a global economic collapse, a hardened, emotionally distant drifter named Eric has the misfortune of having his car stolen by a trio of fleeing criminals. What starts as a simple act of car theft sets off a single-minded pursuit across the Australian outback as Eric proves willing to do anything to get his whip back. Along the way, he crosses path with Ray, an injured, slow-witted younger brother of one of the car thieves who left him for dead. The two form an alliance as they travel deeper into landscape populated by leaderless soldiers, scavengers, and broken survivors. In the end, Eric has to choose to be selfish or help Ray carry out one last act of revenge.
Nice. Very nice.
So,
yeah, dude. Good movie, by the way.
I was excited because I forgot what it's like to have absolutely zero idea of what this movie is about before I head into it. This is a nostalgic
You didn't see
feeling.
this ahead of time?
Nope. In fact, I thought it was something else. And then when I looked, pulled it up to watch, I was like, wait a second. We're in uncharted territory here, folks. This is a nostalgic feeling for me. Like, do you remember going to the theater and you just had no idea what the movie was really going to be about?
Wow, you're talking about not seeing previews?
Not seeing previews. Just, let's say you go to the theater and you kind of have a vague idea. Like, I'll give you an example, right? Like in the 90s, I went to see Last Action Hero in the theater.
Oh, so good.
Now, you had commercials and stuff back then at like a 30-second spot, but I don't really remember having any idea what it was about other than the fact that Arnold was in it, and Arnold was like my number one guy back then.
Hell yeah.
And if you
fair
remember,
enough.
people were disappointed by it.
Recall this. Yeah. I loved it. We watched it at my cousin's house like all the time. Every time I go over there. It was awesome.
But that's what it felt like going into this movie, and I was like, whoa, this is something.
Yeah.
This is a little
Fair
exciting.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And this movie, of course, has just a plethora of our guys, actors. Our guys.
Oh, yeah, dude. Top tier guys here.
Guy Pearce, Robert Pattinson, Scoot McNairy, all Mount Rushmore Kino actors, I would say. Scoot, especially.
I would agree with that. Scoot McNairy, dude.
I mean, like the other.
What was the first thing you saw him in?
Probably
That you can recall.
Movie with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Killing Them Softly.
Yep. Yeah. I think that was the first time I saw him. He's like this drug addict on heroin with Ben Mendelsohn. The two of them together.
Magic.
Absolutely epic. Like, this is insanity. Yeah, Scoot McNairy's so good. But then he just pops up randomly in a bunch of other shit. And like, this guy is so talented. Such a good actor.
Just a talent. I mean, Guy Pearce and Robert Pattinson are probably well known, a much bigger element than Scoot. But at least like with 12 years ago when this came out, Pattinson wasn't really the guy that he is now. He was the Twilight dude.
No. And we'll touch on that. We'll get into, his trajectory of his career. And this was actually the movie that kind of started it all.
This was
break that typecast.
Breaking the typecast. And then Scoot, I mean, I will say Scoot McNairy, like, you ask any of your friends, hey, did you catch the latest Scoot McNairy movie?
Who?
To be like, yeah, who are you talking about, dude? But he's one of those guys that everyone sees, like, oh, yeah, I know that guy. I know his face.
Yeah.
Right?
Guy in the Thing.
But to us, he's just like GOAT tier.
Yes. Yeah. He's just one of those dudes, right? He's just like a B character, but he just brings it. So we just love the shit out of it.
Yeah.
That's about it, right? One thing I will say about this movie, set design, wardrobe, they get a nod for me on this one. There's like all these little details. It makes it like a true post-apocalyptic feel for me, right? But my favorite that I kind of noted was Guy Pearce's haircut. So immediately you just hit with this dude and he's got these pieces of longer hair and then shorter hair. Like he's got this jacked up haircut, like he was looking in the mirror, cutting his own hair. But it gives it that feeling, okay, that makes sense because there's no barbers around. It's like post-apocalyptic. It's just a nice touch. Also, when you're introduced to Robert Pattinson, he's got this like brown shit on his teeth. I don't know if you caught that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It almost looks like braces. And they're like, okay, no, they just put like gunk on his teeth. And it just gives it such a nice look. And I'm like, attention to detail, just all the barns and shit that they're going through, like the small towns or whatever. I just think, set design, wardrobe, 10 out of 10. The shoes they have these guys in, like these like old, like beat up clunker shoes, just the whole outfits. I just 10 out of 10 respect. But this right here is all I ask out of a movie, right, dude? It's like we talked about this before, but I'm sure this isn't the first time this concept has been done. But what do you have? Guy basically kidnaps someone, right, to get what he wants, and ends up establishing a friendship along the way. They look out for each other. But it's the first time it's been done in a post-apocalyptic setting, right? So for me, that makes it somewhat original. Like, this is a real movie. We're always talking about a solid movie because it's original versus just kind of mailing it in, not giving a shit about the writing.
This, you're so
it's
right.
so basic.
This movie could have been very easily mail it in, but they decided to not do that, right? Like, this could have been, you could watch this movie, you could see how it's a hop, skip, and a jump away from being straight to DVD B movie that Guy Pearce
100%.
got paid money to be in just to show his face for 5 minutes.
Literally. That's it.
But they don't do that. Now, it's somewhat controversial, I would say, what they do, but that makes it unique for sure.
Well, you can feel that the writer, director, this is a movie that he was all about. He was all in on, and somehow he got the funding for it. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. That's the differentiation. He wasn't just asked to do it. It's a passion project.
I'm passionate. I'm passionate.
So I'm assuming the first time, as you mentioned, watching this movie was today.
The first time I'm watching this was today, which is somewhat strange, I would say, considering these actors that are in it are all guys that we love. It's Australian. It's post-apocalyptic, right up my alley,
Love it. Yep.
What a treat. What a treat for me. Yourself?
I think I saw, I probably saw this 2018, 2019, and I remember like immediately loving it. I wasn't like, again, this was Pattinson, like breakout role. And as far as like stepping out of his typecast, but Guy Pearce to me was just, amazing. But I think I only saw it once or twice, and I'm not sure why I didn't watch it more, but I just remember specifically like this movie rules, and then I just never watched it again. But you got this peak of actors, like you said, McNeary, Pattinson, and Guy Pearce. But it's like I always say, I'm a big environment guy. Like you mentioned, post-apocalyptic Australia, outback. You get these really nice shots. I'm just like, man, it's so good. My point is, I just can't believe that I probably watched it for the second or third time today.
Yeah.
Literally main character. Who is literally you in this film?
Dude, I didn't vibe with like anyone in this movie. I don't.
No?
Yeah.
No?
I was kind of taken aback because we'll get into what my thought process was, but I was originally just kind of like, what is happening in this movie? I was deciding whether I'm actually into this movie. And then it turns. Yeah. And then it turns, I realized what this movie's all about. And but
it hit you hard.
But then, I was like, I can't vibe with anyone though, because like I feel like if I was in this movie, I would just be like, okay, I'm gonna kill this soldier. I'm gonna take his rifle and his Humvee, and then I'm gonna drive to some part of the Australia that has civilization still.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to
apparently it's not much.
I'm going to take a plane to like Japan or something and get the hell out of here.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, this is strategy, dude. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah. Myself, I'm going to go with Gordon. Do you remember who Gordon was?
See the guy at the end? The old guy at the end?
He's the old dude with his shirt off. Because I'm like thinking to myself, I'm not really vibing with any character here, but this dude, he just sits up, he's just watching this whole gunfight take place and not even phased, completely unfazed. I'm thinking to myself, this is me. Like nothing bothers me anymore. I'm completely unfazed. I'm Gordon. That's it. Plain and simple. I'm just vibing with Gordon. The look on this dude's face, I'm like, this dude is the most Australian looking dude ever. Gordon, isn't he?
And the vibe of it is like there's something about Australia that leads itself to apocalyptic world, and maybe it's just something with the outback there, you know. Like it's not that
it's I think what is
from
like,
a post-apocalypse as it is today.
Isn't it like 95% of the country is uninhabited in Australia?
Yeah, it's crazy, and it can kill you.
It's an insane number. It might even be like 98. Well,
there's all these animals that can just
literally
murder you.
It's only certain areas in the coastline that are actually inhabited. Yeah. All right, so fun facts. Let's get into these. Robert Pattinson stated that after the Twilight series ended, he knew he had to play these kind of roles to avoid getting typecast, which we mentioned, and that he wanted this role so much that in the days leading up to the audition, he even dreamt of the character Ray. When he was at David Michôd's house for the audition, he couldn't start to actually play the character for 45 minutes because he had so much anxiety.
That's wild.
This is what I'm talking about, dude. Like, you get these actors and their heartthrobs, and you're like, okay, you know, in it for the pay. I can appreciate it. But get paid, young man, you know? I appreciate that. But, like, you have dudes like this who are just all about it. And if you've seen what he's done since, again, this, like I mentioned, this was his actual first non-heartthrob role, whether it was movies or Twilight or TV shows. I don't know if he did any TV before this, but this is it right here. This dude goes on to do a bunch of insane movies after this, even to the noir-style Batman movie, which I think we can agree is one of our favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But this is it, man. This is a guy who's just like, I could just, and I guess he probably feels like, you know, there's a timeline for that type of character, but it's like a McConaughey, right? Same trajectory at the beginning of his career. He's like, nah, dude, I got way more in the tank. I got way more range, and I'm going to show it. And I respect that.
Yeah, and that's a great point. What makes Pattinson that guy? Is it because it's in him, the dog's in him? Is it because they chose him over just, you know, someone else? Like, for instance, Taylor Lautner was like the werewolf dude from Twilight. What happened to that guy, right? I
saw a YouTube video on him. Yeah, I saw a YouTube video on him. He was going through like a ton of shit. I can't really recollect exactly what it was, but he was going through some turmoil, and I guess he kind of had a falling out. I don't know if it was like depression or something, or he just couldn't handle the spotlight.
Right.
But I don't know that he ever loved the craft the way it seems a Pattinson does, right? Maybe. Mm-hmm. So potentially not having that dog. Another thing was David Michôd wrote the character of Eric specifically for Guy Pearce. So as you mentioned before, could have just taken a payday, you know, be in this movie. But this movie was literally written for him. It's like you're watching it like, oh, well, that makes complete sense because the dude is absolutely plays insane perfect. Or just dialed in, however you want to call it.
I always think about these situations where someone writes a role for a specific actor. I think, is this a chicken and the egg situation? Because if you're an actor and some guy comes to you and is like, hey, I have a movie, I want you to be in it because I specifically wrote the role for you. Are you then kind of pressured, at least maybe subconsciously in your own mind, to take the role, you know? Oh, gee whiz, the guy wrote the role for me. I guess I know it.
I would. Well, I think that, you know, you write that if you're a good director and you can get funding, obviously you write it geared towards that person and what they're into, right?
Yeah.
So Guy Pearce reads this and he's like, yeah, this is right up my alley. Okay, that makes sense. You know, tell me more. So then they have a conversation. You know, I'm sure there's countless number of movies where people do this and it gets pitched and they're like, no, I'm not interested. I'm sure that happens a lot. But this is something where he's like, okay, I know this guy's angle. I know what he's into. And sure enough, the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Did you ever hear about the movie The Proposition?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Proposition 2005, right? Outback. He's like a mercenary, or he's like a former soldier.
Mm-hmm.
This is like that character, newer age, right? So this guy's like, okay, I can just write this type of story and he'd be into it. So I'm sure he watched his prior work and was like, okay. But anyway, last one here. The scene which involves Ray listening and singing to the song Pretty Girl Rock by Carrie Hilson was put there by the director to remind people that in a normal, civilized world, Ray would still be a kid listening to pop songs and swarm for girls. Did you catch that scene where he's like kind of like humming along,
I thought
singing the
that
song?
some ad was playing.
No, he was singing along with it. Yeah. Kind of weird.
I was so confused.
This is me in my car.
I was so confused. I thought that some ad was playing on the screen, and it wasn't, because the way it feels like they put it in, it's like in between scenes when they're walking away from a fence and the music starts, so you don't know what's happening, and then it cuts to him in the car listening to it. But the way it starts, it confused the shit out.
I felt the same thing. Yeah. I was like, this is like, I'm like, wait, is there an ad playing on my on my computer? No, it's just the movie. And then he starts singing along, like, oh, okay, there we go. So we get introduced to, Kino scenes. Let's get into it. Opening segment, absolutely Kino. It's like, I love this calmness where Eric's walking to get this drink of water, and you have these two Asian dudes, and it starts playing this like Asian song, and it's like, what is this movie about? Okay, hold on. And it cuts right to these dudes in the car where Henry's brawling with this old guy in the back after he just got shot. And you're like, holy shit, dude. Like, that's a complete change of pace. Cuts right back to Eric drinking the water, but it has this really cool camera shot where it's, his profile. And this car just starts barreling by. And I'm like, dude, this is epic. Love it.
Yeah, it's flipping by, such a good shot. And this movie does have a ton of
awesome
fantastic shots. And also this movie has a bunch of random Asian dudes in it. And from what I gathered, it's something to do with, they thought that would be like, oh, this is a global economic collapse. So these random people are just migrating around the world, I guess. Or it could just be that there was just Asians in the outback. I don't know. I don't know how many Asians are actually in the outskirts of like Australia.
I don't think too many.
Right?
No,
I think they were going.
These people.
I think they were going with something where it's like there's different people in different parts of the world now because there's some kind of calamity that happened.
Makes sense. Yeah. We're always talking about facial expressions on this podcast, but Guy Pearce's face, bro. It's like they take the car, and he runs out to sea, and he just has this look like he's ready to murder these dudes, followed up by when he confronts them. And I'm like, he's not a big, intimidating dude, Guy Pearce, but every time I see him in a serious role, I'm like, he's scary as shit. Like,
yeah, it's the perfect artist interpretation of what it looks like when you're silently seething without saying a word, but being able to convey with your face murderous intent.
Yes.
Like, he's 100% going to murder these people.
As soon as he catches up to him. Yep. So then we get introduced to Pattinson character, Ray. So he's laying next to this soldier who has his neck blown out, which is like a really cool shot. He's kind of gasping for his last breath of air, staring at him, which I thought was pretty cool. But I noticed immediately these flies around him. And you see throughout the rest of the movie, these flies just all over these people. And it got me thinking, I watch all these fishing channels on YouTube, and a ton of them are in the outback, or in Australia, I should say, because it's like the best fishing. And dude, apparently these flies are so bad, like certain types of the season, they're like flying in your ears and your nose and shit. And I'm just like, dude, this is an environment that I would never want to be in, Australia. Like, there's good parts of it.
Yeah.
I've never been. But I'm thinking to myself, dude, this is not for me. No.
Yeah, this is crazy town, my man. Like, I wasn't really aware of this at all, the extent of the flies and everything, but I'm glad they put this stuff in the movie because, like, one thing you never really think about in movies is bugs. And it's like my mom gets eaten alive by bugs because I think there's just something in her blood that bugs love. And we always discuss this, like her getting eaten by gnats and stuff. But we were just discussing, like, I was like, Mom, like, do you know if you got drafted to Vietnam, you'd probably be eaten alive by bugs in day one? It's like,
well, that's the thing is they wouldn't be able to keep them off the set if they wanted to, because it's probably just something they'd have to deal with. Because it's in a lot of movies. I said the proposition, same thing. There's just swarms of these flies in all these scenes in the heat. It's just that if you hit that time of season, you get wrecked. Simple as.
If one of the things, the most hated bug of mine is fleas. And like if you're in medieval Europe and everything, you just got like fleas everywhere, dog. Like, that's just one thing about history that people don't think about is like modern civilization and climate control and everything. Like, you're just not dealing with bugs. It's crazy.
Yeah. Bugs, rats, all that shit. Pests. Anyhow.
Well, this is going to come up multiple times during this movie, but Ray leaves this soldier's rifle on the ground. Like, at this point in the movie, I'm like, I don't know what's happening with this apocalypse, but even...
You immediately go to that. That's your train of thought.
I'm grabbing that rifle. I'm grabbing that dude's whole gear set. I'm just taking it because that's just you can sell that stuff at the very least.
It's true, yeah. Because then he goes to buy it later in the movie. That's a good point. Your brain immediately goes to playing too much PUBG, so you're just used to grab the loadout.
Loot box, baby. Yeah, absolutely. Give me that loot, dog.
So this lends us right into Pattinson. Let's talk about this guy for a second. I mentioned this is like kind of his breakout role, right? And it's like, there's no denying where he's at as an actor today, but to go from this heartthrob character and then it immediately introduces like this like half-wit dude, and like we'll get to it, but some of these scenes where he just excels and shows just a crazy amount of range, it's kind of alarming to just dive head first into this character. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna sell. It's like DiCaprio playing, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, right? It's like, damn, dude, you're really going for it. But Pattinson's just like, yeah, dude, dog, I got this, which just incredible. I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah, and he's just seemingly dumb. He's not like mentally challenged. He's just a dumb guy, not very bright,
Right.
But I'm kind of glad that Pattinson did this kind of thing. He emerged from that world because I really quite like Pattinson as an actor. Good Time is great. He's an insane person in it. Lighthouse, obviously, we saw that.
Oh yeah, yep.
Juxtaposition between those kind of roles and Batman, where he's this silent loner type, right?
Yeah,
kind of can morph into any kind of mode he wants and be really good at it. And I was like, this is just a guy that gets it. And I was like, again, I think to myself though, how many other people out there have been typecast and you just don't know how good yeah, exactly. You really have no idea how good this dude is because he's typecast, right? He didn't get the
lunch.
That same opportunity that Pattinson got to break out and to show his stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there's a bunch. Yeah. So I'm watching this, and at some point in this movie, I'm thinking to myself, and I noticed it just in this watch, and I'm like, is this John Wick but with a car? This movie, because it just immediately, I'm watching this, and I'm not a big fan of the John Wick movies. I know they're good, but I've seen like all the memes and stuff, and it's like, hey, I guess his girlfriend dies and gave him a dog or something, so he like has this affinity for this dog because it reminds him of his girlfriend. I'm watching this dude really loves this car, and I'm thinking to myself, he's willing to murder people over this car. Okay, so what's the deal with the car? That's what you're thinking the whole movie. But it just reminded me of it, and like, okay, this came out way before John Wick, so did they just steal the idea?
This is a sentimental car. This guy is very attached to the car. Why though? What is it about this model of car? Yeah, you would think that he'd rather have the truck than
that's the last one.
But
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, all right, dude, just leveled up.
He leveled up, right?
Truck. Literally. So then obviously you mentioned about just grabbing loadouts, but this cool scene where he goes, it seems like I guess there's a sign in the background, if you caught that, it's a circus, right?
Okay.
So a traveling circus, and this midget dude, Colin, did you expect him to did that catch you off guard when he just turns over and just shoots him right in the dome?
A little bit, but I mean,
it was pretty wild.
I was kind of at this point, where is all this going? Where is this movie going? Because this movie's kind of slow, but that something crazy is going to happen because, it's just this post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah. For me, I'm like, okay, I thought it was pretty cool what they did with the writing. So like, you get introduced to Eric. He's this loner dude, but there's nothing up to this point that makes you feel like he's an outright murderer, right?
Yeah.
So obviously he chokes up the old dude and, behind the back of the car. But out of nowhere, he just turns about face and just domes this midget dude. I just thought it was interesting. It's like one of those shock value moments. Very well done.
You know what Eric is? Eric is a psychopath that doesn't want to say that he's a psychopath. And in the real world, he was able to get over. He was able to get by and live normally.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes you wonder, are there a bunch of psychopaths running around right now? And the only reason that they're not out killing people is because they don't want to be put in a box for the rest of their life. And as soon as things start breaking down, they're just going to start murdering people.
There are these videos you see on YouTube where people get into road rage incidents. That's those people.
Yeah, but due to the fact that there's no repercussions now, any kind of inconvenience will just lead them to just killing someone. And they can justify it later. Like, he seems like he doesn't, there's some kind of still semblance of, I don't necessarily want to be this guy, but he's so far removed from the old him that it doesn't even matter anymore. And he's basically just like a total psycho.
Well, yeah, and we'll talk about that later. And that's the trajectory of this movie and how it occurs. But at the time, you're thinking to yourself, what's going on with this guy? He's a punished man.
A punished man, absolutely. At this point, like, there's a couple points where I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I have to question reality. I'm like, we're 10 years into the apocalypse. It says so at the beginning of the movie, right? And they're still using United States dollars to trade. Seems a little unlikely, right? I mean, what good is money here?
He even says it. He's like, it's paper. What the hell does it matter?
Right. So far in this movie, we're just seeing these extremely desolate, super far on the outskirts towns.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, dude, this looks pretty bad. Whatever's going on in the world, this looks pretty bad. What are they doing trading? And it really was like, oh, well, there's like a whole another world probably where there's still like normal civilization and everything, but it's just worse.
Right.
But it's just... everything got slightly worse, and because of where they are geographically, it's way worse.
That's a good point.
You know?
Yeah. That's a good point. On an island, no pun intended. But yeah, dude, this is another instance we always talk about. Are these guys actors or are they lifers? And it's the two dudes I'm talking about in the shop where they make him buy something, and he's like, "Pay Gary," or whatever the hell the guy's name is, and then this dude just gets up, grabs his money, and puts it in the cash register. I'm like, this guy cannot be an actor. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. They're both lifers, it seems like. I looked them up. They don't have any acting credits except for this movie. And it's like, wow, dude, they kill it, though. They're so believable. They're so just locked in on this character, and you believe it 100% that these guys have grown up at that exact location for their whole life.
Yes, dude. And they look so Australian. I said this last week with BMX Bandits. I'm like, they just look Australian. Outback, hardcore, hard nose Australian.
It's weird that different places in the world, you just have people that look like that geographical location. Like, there's a specific phenotype to the Australian white guy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. It's very strange.
So I'm curious to know, if we're going to get a lot of these guns here probably, but what kind of rifle is this dude no-scoping these guys from 100 yards out? The two Asian dudes that get out of the car, it's like, give me your rifle. It looks like it's one of these bolt actions, but again, dude, he just no-scopes them. It's a cool reveal because it reveals them in the front seat, both dead. And then the third guy's like looking at him. He just looks forward and gets like his chest blasted out. What is this thing?
It's
a Winchester?
It's a Winchester 1894
Is it?
lever action rifle.
That was a guess.
I don't think it's incredibly difficult to hit shots at that distance. It's probably like 100 yards or something with irons. Like, think about that though. Like, in old wars, they didn't have optics. Like, you would have guys that would just rock iron sights and just have a just insane eagle eye, and it could just dome guys, right? Also, I mean, it's funny. He shoots these two guys in the car, And then the third guy gets out and is like, what's happening? What's going on here? Like, dude, you're about to get rocked by a sniper rifle. Like, you might want to take cover.
I want to take some cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So the next scene, this is the crux of the movie for me. And this is what we were kind of talking about a little in the intro, but Eric and Ray, they're eating. All right. And they're talking about where they're going. Eric breaks Ray down and finally gets them to, divulge where they're going. I guess it was Kowloon or whatever. And Eric he's like this dark doomer presence, basically shitting on God because Ray's telling him, how he's got his brother and, God wouldn't let him get hurt. And then doomer Eric's like, your brother doesn't give a shit about you just because you came from the same woman's hole. So Eric's bullying him here with the logic and thoughts because he knows Ray's mentally weak, right?
Yeah.
Shame on you, Eric. But this is where the movie, this for me is the movie, right? It's dark versus light. And you look at all these interactions he has with, the doctor, the grandma. People try to give him like a sense of humanity, but he just brushes it off. And another good example is when Ray tells Eric about the story with his neighbors, right? They found all the stuff, the goofy shit in their basement when they died or whatever. And Eric is just like annoyed visibly. And he's like, why are you telling me this? And Ray just responds, because I thought of it and not everything has to be about something. And it's like, he's just thinking like, you can just have conversations. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm like, okay, is this what is this guy's motivation? Right? This dude, Eric.
Yeah.
It seems like he has a shred of wanting someone to get through and like ask about himself, but like, I don't know. He has his guard up. What do you think about that?
I think, you're spot on. The conscious mind of Eric knows that civilization is over.
Right.
And he's
unmotivated.
All these other people that he's surrounded by still have some kind of glimmer of hope of the past.
Right.
Even to the point where, if that's not obvious, someone like Ray bringing up this random conversation, it serves no purpose in Eric's mind because there is no purpose to anything now. It's like he's dealing with the idea that there's no reason to be moral at all because there is no like civilization whatsoever. Like, why is it that you act morally? Is it because it's like, ingrained in you? Has it been taught to you when you were a kid?
I would say so.
Or is it like also the idea that we're all working towards something here and we live in a society and once that goes away, what are we working towards? What is the point of not just shooting people? They give you an inconvenience. Why not just shoot them? It's not like we're collectively working towards anything anymore. And I think...
And that's... Go ahead, sorry.
I just think that that's what Eric is trying to portray, kind of, is this nihilism here versus Ray still kind of holding on to vestiges of the past.
Right.
Because it's comforting, maybe.
But it is revealed because he says about how his wife cheated on him. Eventually, it's revealed that he killed her and her lover.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, dude, that's his cope. And he's like, nothing matters anymore. I'm pissed. I hate everything. This economic collapse on top of everything.
Yeah.
What's the point of living? So every conversation he has, he's like, don't give me this false hope bullshit. Nothing matters. He's Doomer Eric.
Yeah. And imagine if this timing of this economic collapse just happened to coincide with his own personal life falling apart. And he's just using the economic collapse as a cope that, it's so over. But
it's so over.
It's not really over. It's just you have lost any hope.
Right. And
that's the battle in this conversation. This conversation is like a microcosm of everything we just said. But it's so funny because Ray is just saying just this little conversation piece that means nothing. And that alone is enough to trigger Eric because he thinks it's so over, folks.
But I'll tell you what, it was a nice touch. The writing was when they're in the car, and Ray's telling him how, when you're comfortable with someone, you can just sit there and not talk. And like he keeps saying it to try. It's like something he had heard before.
Yeah.
But he's reiterating it. It's really, really cool and well done. And he just overemphasizes it because he's trying to remember, but he's obviously like slower, and he's trying to remember what the saying is, and he's trying to explain it to him. And it just comes off so good because he just wants that camaraderie. And Eric's just like, he's whittling him down a little bit. He's breaking him down to try and break through that hard Eric core.
Yeah.
That armor. You know what I mean? I thought was like really, really good writing.
Real hard bark on that, gentleman.
Yeah. But you mentioned before about the guns, and it's like, I'm watching this, I'm thinking to myself, I don't care how many of these dudes, these military guys, are patrolling this area. I'm not leaving this rifle behind when, they're shooting Ray in the hotel room, and he comes back for him, grabs Ray, they make off. This dude's got this sick machine gun that he's shooting Ray with. And I think I heard a suppressor on that.
Very possible,
the gun
yeah.
that he's shooting Ray with.
Very possible.
It's like, dude, this thing is kitted out, bro. You should probably just load up and just maybe even take the Humvee.
Well, that's
I know they're trying to lay low, but
100%, dude. I mean, like, I look at this stuff. I remember watching No Country for Old Men, and he gets a satchel of money and everything, right? But he also grabs an MP5 off of a guy, and that's probably worth $30,000 today. Right. Like, that's what I'm thinking about.
No Country time.
I'm in full hoarding mode. We're 10 years into the apocalypse. Like, I got a Humvee now. I got radio equipment. I got a rifle, which, by the way, is about 100 times more useful than a pistol, and probably like 120 rounds or something of ammunition right on this guy. Why are you just leaving that? But the only reason I could come up with is if there's other people patrolling and they see you're in their Humvee or whatever. But
it seems like there's a considerable amount of these guys, patrolling around. So,
but at that point, I'd be like, all right, well, I'm just going to shoot all these guys if they come after me.
I don't know how long you'll last there.
I don't know either, but it's like we're in hoarding mode, my friend. We got to prep. I'm watching Canadian Prep. I'm ready to go.
Oh boy, it seems like everyone's kind of hunkered down though, in like their shacks and shanties and stuff. So that's probably what it is. They're just laying low. So this military patrol is in full force, but. More character development is, the scene with the military dude, and it's true doomer maxing to me. He's like, I killed my wife and her lover. No one came after me. He's like, that actually, you broke my heart more, was knowing the fact that no one even cared enough to come after me.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, it's at this point in the movie, you're wondering like, what the hell is really going on here? Right. Chronologically. You're thinking to yourself, this dude, what's going on in his head? He's punished.
What's going on in Eric's head is that he can't deal with nihilism. He's
a faker.
Is saying that basically nothing matters anymore. He can't come up with a reason to live by himself. He needs this external society to give some kind of purpose to whatever he's doing. So when he killed his wife in an act of passion, and then he realized no one's coming to stop me for this, it unlocked all these psychopath feelings in his mind that he doesn't want to admit to. So now he's like, well, what's stopping me from killing people? Nothing. And he's wrestling with this whole idea of, I need to come up with my own purpose and I don't have one, versus, there is no purpose whatsoever. And we needed this society to build towards something, but it's like,
it's so over.
Yeah. I mean, it is so over, but it's not really. All he has to do is just go travel. Like, this dude could be fishing on the beach every day. Why isn't he?
Well, you don't know that it's not contaminated.
It's true.
We just don't know. Because they're eating out of tins like throughout the whole movie.
It is all what you make of it, though. Like, do you have the strength in the lack of and this is what I guess we talked about in like nihilism and everything. It's like with the death of religion, there's going to be a vacuum where people find no purpose because there's no religion,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's a good point.
But
Yeah.
what do you fill it with? Do you just succumb to it's so over? Or is there
Or we're so
within
back.
you? Yeah. Is there within you an eternal, we're so back?
Well, right after this is, for me, I think the wildest range of emotions in this movie, just the best acting, because Eric's having a seemingly meaningful conversation with this military dude. Like they're going back and forth kind of angrily first. And he's seemingly confessing to get this off his chest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's just like, well, I don't care. I'm getting paid. And he gets kind of caught off guard. He's like, comes back a little bit, divulges about his wife. And then Ray comes in and just shoots the dudes, right? So he goes from that emotion to being like, hey, this dude who I was just having somewhat of a conversation with, trying to like let him in, just got shot and he's dead. But then he realizes it's Ray that came back to save him, the guy who he was telling him he's going to kill once they get to Kowloon or whatever.
Yeah.
So you just, if you pay attention, you can see this range of emotions and like almost confusion on Eric. And it's like, this is Guy Pearce, just Guy Pearce in it.
And it happens
Full
all
Full
within
send.
a second, like a couple of
Literally.
seconds. And you're like, his face transforms 2 different
Mhm.
times where he's
It's wild, dude.
Yeah, it is really phenomenal acting right here. And it's all in the facial expression too. You lock in,
Literally.
he's just saying so many different things where his face changes. It's fantastic.
And then I cut to the scene where he's trying to buy this. I don't even know what he's trying to buy. And then he's like, oh, we don't take you. And that's the whole other thing. It's like they don't take Australian money. They only take US dollars. So again, it just seems like a situation where Australia is kind of ostracized.
Yeah.
And Ray just rolls up with this fat wad of American money. He's like, yeah, buy a couple rounds for my friend here. It's like, and he just gives him this look like, what? He's so confused.
Yeah, this is where I really started to be like, wait a thing. I think I actually am really into this movie now because
Yeah.
Eric here is stating the obvious to this guy. It's like, what is the point of money when it's the apocalypse? It's a wad of paper. Who cares? It's like, we're 10 years into this thing. Like, I guess in this timeline, that's not enough for literally everything to go to shit, right? We're still chugging along. We're still doing something, right? And it's like, there's still some semblance of society left. Usually post-apocalyptic movies, they're right at the end where everything is just total chaos, like Mad Max, I guess. And
yeah,
or some of them more like the very beginning of the apocalypse when everything breaks down, right? Everything starts breaking down. Like this one, I don't think I've ever seen a movie like this where we're in the middle of it. And I'm kind of fascinated by that because, like we always say, right? Like nothing ever happens. It's just going to get worse and worse at such a slow rate that you never notice it. And you'll wake up in 20
true,
years and, you know,
so true.
you'll have to be
happening.
paid like $1 million for a salary. That'll be like middle class if you just get paid $1 million or whatever. And it's like, there's people that still think 10 years in that civilization is still going. And Eric sees past this. He's like, dude, like, what are you even doing with it at this station? Selling goods for American paper? Like, what, dude? Who are you gonna trade
He's
that
almost
to?
offended. Yeah. There's a lot of, it's not explained a lot of this shit in this movie. And that's a big question. It's like, what's the trade look like? You know what I mean? What is it's an economic collapse, but what does the rest of the world look like?
What's the rest of the world look like? Yeah, exactly, dude. Like, that's where I'm like, I don't want to identify. I'm like, I'm just going down the coast. I'm surfing every day. I'm fishing. You got to make the best of the apocalypse, man. Like, you can't just be doomer and gloomer. You know what I mean?
It's true.
Surf's up, though.
But Charlie don't surf. The chronology of these two, though, Ray and Eric, is just, it's interesting because they're by the fire and Ray says that he's going to kill Henry, who's his brother, and that there's money they can take. So Eric doesn't know why he's saying this. He just tells him to go to sleep, right? And he's just laying down. He's like, go to sleep. It's like, almost like he doesn't know what to say to him, and he's not sure he even wants this dude to tag along anymore. And it's like now extreme loyalty from Ray. And he's like, wait, I'm the doomer maxer. I don't need this tag along child to have to look after. I was going solo dolo on this run.
Right.
I don't want this guy here.
Almost, yeah, he doesn't want him because almost part of him doesn't want to admit that there is some kind of camaraderie between the two growing, right?
Yeah. Yep. I know the answer to this, but does this movie just jazz you up for like a post-apocalyptic experience? Like, if there was something to ever actually happen, I can tell you're a post-apocalyptic. You're a prepper.
Well, part of me just wants something to happen all the time, but a little bit. But it's almost too realistic. This movie, you know, everyone has these kind of thoughts about when shit hits the fan, dog. Dude, I'm gonna be like, I got my rifle, I got my canteen, like I'm gonna be really running shit. Then trust me, dude. Like I do Excel files for this corporation that I work for, but when shit hits the fan, like I'm gonna be running shit. Believe me.
Yeah.
Right. When in reality, it's just like super depressing. it's super like
it's
like
yeah, dude. It's true, man. It's very true. You shouldn't want for that shit.
Like arguing with people about paper money and having the thought in your head, do I just kill this guy because he's kind of just pissing me off? Like that's the kind of like depressing shit.
That's what we're talking about here. So we get to this kind of last scene segment, and this is where Eric, I think, gets his humanity back. So they find the car, and he jumps in, he's ready to dip out, and Ray's like, "What are you doing? Where are you going?" Right? Almost like he's like offended, and it's like, we're here for revenge. Eric almost feels obligated to stick with Ray since he saved his life, so he does like a double take, and he gets out of the car. He's like, "All right, fuck it, let's go." So I just thought that was like pretty cool. He pays it back, but incredible acting here by Pattinson. It's like he's got this. So obviously Eric goes in, takes care of the old guy and the black dude, and you have Ray just come in and he builds up the courage. And this is like the second really good acting scene in this movie with Pattinson. He's like confronts his brother who's sleeping, and you watch him like build up and work the courage up to wake him up first because he knows he's going to be pissed, but also holding the gun up. And he does this like heavy breathing thing, and he's like, "Henry, get up!" And like he knows he doesn't hear him, and then he says it louder, and then Henry finally wakes up, and he just kind of backs off a little bit. Tremendous, dude.
Yeah.
The way that he just,
it's
the
like
way he builds himself up for it is sick.
He's not even fully committed when he initially goes in, which is interesting to think about. What if Eric never even went in there with him?
Yeah.
He might not have died, Ray, because what might have happened is if he goes in by himself, his brother convincing him, "Hey, just put the gun down, dude."
Yeah, he'll talk him out of it. 100%.
It's,
yeah, we didn't leave you back there, yada, yada, yada.
And then you think to yourself, maybe Eric kind of felt bad afterwards because he realized he got this dude killed. He got all these people killed. He could have left in the car and the guy would still be alive.
Right. It's true. Yeah. But this is when you have the reveal, right? So he gets the car, gets out of there, burns the bodies. And like I mentioned before, this is literally John Wick before John Wick, right? The final reveal of the movie. It's all about the dead dog in the trunk of his car, right? So let's unpack that. What's this movie actually about, right?
Yeah.
I view it as he's betrayed by his wife, coupled with the stress of this economic collapse. It's assumed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this one constant in his life, his dog, that dies, right? And this guy has seemingly lost everything. So, he loses sight of this purity and turns into this apathetic, sleepwalking monster dude, killing anyone who gets in his way, right? And at the same time, he's kind of leaving this door slightly open for people. He still has that sense, like I'd mentioned before, and Ray's the only one that gets through to him. And then he loses that because Ray dies.
Yeah.
So it's just like this whole constant depressing doomers type movie. but this is the kind of shit that I'm into, dude. It's like, I know a lot of people don't like this, and there's no happy ending, and I get all that, and it's like, okay, there's really nothing going on here. But I take, solace in that a lot, and it's like these kind of stories, and I like that a lot. It's just, I think it's really well done.
Yeah, I mean, there's this plot twist here that this whole movie was about the fact that his dead dog is in his car the whole time, the trunk, and that's the reason why he's going after his car. I'm like, what a wild plot twist. In a world stripped of meaning, the only thing he cares about is his last true love, which wasn't ruined, and the love of his dog. The love of his wife was ruined because she was cheating on him. It killed her. That was the last of the old world. His dog, he still loved them though. And then his dog died. And then these people steal his car with the dog in it. Like Ray begins to lighten his heart again, just a touch, only for the whole thing to be ruined once again. And then it's like, well, wait a second. Is Ray a symbol for another dog that Eric adopts? Like through the movie, Eric gets upset at the midget for throwing a rock at a dog. Then he's disturbed by the dogs that are in the crates at the doctor's house. And then he immediately after that adopts Ray and domesticates him, basically, gaining Ray's loyalty.
Yeah.
And then gets him killed.
It's a really good take. Yeah. Yeah, man. There's like you mentioned there, his dog dying, it's like the last thing that didn't let him down. And like, it almost makes you curious how his dog died. Yeah. But it's left ambiguous. And that's what makes the movie cool, right? There's all these unknowns. And I just personally think that's awesome when it does that. Leaves a lot of things unanswered. But I think you just hit the nail on the head with all the dog references. And that's really what it's all about, is this dude's like plight throughout the whole movie. That's it. There's nothing more to it.
How do you rate this movie? I'm very curious.
This is going to be an easy 8.2 for me. Okay. Not quite ready to give an 8.5, but yeah, 8.2 is fair, I think. Incredible acting, even though like there's only a few heightened scenes with minimal dialogue throughout the movie. Decent camera shots that we mentioned. Really nice landscapes. But as I always say, man, it's a great movie to me is juxtaposition between two main characters, right? That's a recipe for success. And even you had this added bonus of Scoot McNairy in it. And then all these we talked about all these random characters that were seemingly not actors, just lifers that absolutely brought it. And again, man, I'm a minimalist. I love a minimalist movie. It, fills that for me. So yeah, I'll go 8.2. How about yourself?
I gave this movie like a 7.
Oh,
and there's a reason why. Like, I like how it accurately portrays some post-apocalyptic world in a way that's more interesting to me than, let's say, I don't know, guys wearing football shoulder pads and a hockey mask.
That's true.
I mean, I love Mad Max, but it's like a cartoonish world, right? Like, this is more hyper realistic. I also like there's a ton of Kino shots in this movie where the camera is behind Eric and it's slowly zooming in on him, and there's something he's looking at, like, for instance, the fire of the dudes that he's burning.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool in that sense too. Part of me is like, is this a stylish movie though, posing as a serious movie about civilizational collapse, or is the script just kind of thin? You know what I mean? Like, is this style over substance at a certain level?
I don't know that it was trying to go too stylish. I don't think there's that many, shots that they tried to make. I don't know how I would say that, but yeah, I don't think it's style over substance. No, I don't believe so.
Like, I think it goes a little slow at parts, but you're like, what is going on in this whole world? I don't know what's happening. Everything's kind of vague, right? And then at the end of the movie, they're like, it's about this guy's dog. And it's like, wow, like that the whole movie's purposely vague, and then they make it about a dog. Like, that's a crazy twist at the end.
Hey, man, it was a strong enough plot line that they made a whole trilogy out of it, and it's been wildly successful. So it started here. That's all I can say.
You just blew my mind. Revelations on the podcast. I didn't even know that there was such a trilogy.
John Wick. I'm just telling you, man. This to me is literally John Wick with more guns, I guess, more action. But yeah, that's it, folks. If you haven't seen it, check out The Rover with Robert Pattinson and Guy Pearce. Please like, subscribe, share episodes, please, with your friends. We appreciate all you listening. Thank you so much. And what do we got next week, bud?
The summer blockbuster from 1996, Twister, starring Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, and big time guy Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh yeah, yes, a personal favorite of mine. Until then, catch you on the next one.